Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and genders of all ages, to this very, very special edition of Pop Culture Corner, live from Showcase Cinema Deluxe in Dedham. Today, we are doing a live show from Showcase covering Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Our boys Tyler and Justice are on the ground live at Showcase Cinemas, and they're going to tell us their thoughts of the movie. We're going to do a non-spoiler review first, and then we're going to do a spoiler review followed by that. Folks, we thank you for being here with us. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We thank you for your support. We are now monetized, and we do take super chats. So please engage with us. We appreciate everything you guys do for us. We have a 3-tier system. Look it up. We have the Big Drip, the Jack Attack, and our top-tier system, TY. All of them come with perks. All of them come with their own little things. You can get free stuff, and that's what we want to do because we do it for you and the culture. Let's pull the guys in right now while we have them. Here we go. Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hanging in there. Bro, I love this movie, man. It was a good film. I had a great time. I mean, Justice is miserable all the time. Just kidding. But no. Man, I hope everyone watched the movie. We won't get into any spoilers or anything. Right. But listen, whether you like it or not, it was definitely a good in-theater movie. I mean, how you doing today, Jack?
I'm doing pretty good. We were talking about this on Wednesday, but what's the vibe like? Because more recently, the more movies I've been to, I've been seeing more and more people coming out. How does it look over there today?
As we cut an early show, so it's pretty quiet right now. But it's Friday, so as the night goes on, there'll definitely be people here, and they will flood in. I mean, considering we caught a 12:30 show p.m. and we got here about 10 o'clock in the morning, and I still saw 5, maybe 10 people walking around the theater at 10 in the morning. To have 10 people here, that's a good sign, So as the night goes on, and the plaza around us, there's restaurants and, little bars and stuff, and there's plenty of people around. So as the night goes on, things will start to happen.
Yeah. And, before we get into anything movie-related or theater-related, as our friend Jack there said, guys, make sure to smash the like button on the video, share it on social media so your friends, family, enemies, horror fans galore can tune in and engage with us as well. This movie was definitely at least worth talking about, and definitely worth going out and seeing, getting back out to the theater. If you're a member, we do have me and Jack made a special video for you guys a little bit earlier where we take a tour of the movie theater, this specific movie theater, and kind of go over the stuff that they've been doing here, the renovations, etc. So it's a good time to be a member of the corner.
It is. Yeah, for the 2 weeks we've been monetized, it sort of feels like there's like a new injection of energy into this because we only got here because people have been supporting us. We did our very first one back in, December 25th, on Christmas Day for Wonder Woman 1984, and all of a sudden 6 months later, time travels. And the movie theaters are kind of coming back, and sometimes it's just fun to get scared a little bit. So, what did you guys think? Compare this to the first two, because I know Ty, you had seen the first two. Justice, you've seen them. What did you think? Do you think this is better, worse, the same?
I like this one more because, as you guys know, maybe I am a little bit biased, but I'm a Supernatural fan. Yeah, and the way they incorporated, so in this new one. The previous ones, they use a lot of otherworldly things. Not a lot going on in the regards of, human involvement, right? It's typically some sort of creature or demon, yada, yada. Yeah. And I've been wondering, when are they going to explore this particular avenue? And they finally did it. I had such a good time with it because Supernatural episodes with this particular vibe and storyline are always the best. They're always the most fun, but they're also the most creepy for some reason. Yeah. And I think there's some sort of element to that where when you can't just explain it by, it's a demon from hell. That it brings a little bit more of a mystery into it.
Well, and then there's also the when they do it like that, you think to yourself, well, that is possible. That could be happening, right?
Yeah.
That could be going down right now, and that always adds a little extra spook factor. Remaining spoiler free. Wow, if you guys have recalled, if you joined us for Quick Dip, I talked about a lot of what would make this movie good for me, and none of what I had mentioned was present in this movie.
The court stuff really
just felt so hard. It was very disappointing, and rather than like again, if you guys join Quick Dip, you'll know what I'm referring to. But I had mentioned, it would be great to see them really thrive within dialogue and try to bring some logic, because it's about him fighting in court. That would mean a lot of logic would come with it, right? A lot of realism, a lot of hey, this is why it makes sense. This is
explanations.
Right.
Yeah, because remember a couple of nights ago we talked about the exorcism of Emily Rose, and that was kind of like a courtroom drama plus horror. They're trying to explain, well, is she actually possessed? But you're saying that there wasn't much of that, because I know that's what you were kind of looking forward to.
At all. That was the point I was leading up to, that that whole logic that I was hoping for, and that whole kind of aspect wasn't present, and it was more of they brought it to the realm of, oh, well, it's like spooky, scary. It's, there's demons and witchcraft and voodoo and time travel and whatever the case may be, rather than, there was one court scene, I believe. That was it. Just the one. Most of the movie was our two leads, Patrick Olson, and I always forget her.
Vera Farmiga.
Thank you. I'm forever forgetting her name, but she's a great actress. It was a lot of focus on them, and what a typical story you would see from the two of them. I'm not familiar with Conjuring themselves, but I do know the whole dynamic between the two of them.
So Ty, you've seen the first two movies. For fans who haven't seen the first two movies, can they just go and watch this movie?
I wouldn't recommend it.
You wouldn't recommend?
No, because there's several, at least 15 callbacks.
Okay.
There's elements of it that there are people that show up in it that you're gonna need to know who they are for it to be relevant.
Okay.
So they made sure that they started tying everything from these other. So whether it be the Nun or the first two Conjurings or La Lorna, not much from La Lorna. I always say that one wrong. Not much from that aspect of it, but there are people in it that you're gonna need to remember who they are, because it brings significance to it.
So, as somebody who saw him, as somebody who hasn't, at no point was I confused plot-wise. You'll get the movie, but he just said there's a lot of references and a lot of callbacks apparently that would add an extra layer of, oh, hey, that's cool, enjoyment.
But you haven't seen him, but you were able to follow the story.
Yeah. The story-wise, you'll stick around. You'll be fine. The story is not the problem. The problem is you lose that little bit of enjoyment that he was just talking about with the references and the callbacks and hey, I remember him. Those kind of moments.
Okay. So Justice, you were looking more for the the courtroom stuff. How about the scares? Did you feel like there was something fresh or new, or was it more of the same you felt?
More of the same, I guess.
I would call it, if I had to describe it in one word, I'd say cliche.
Really?
I saw very little originality within this movie. And I am familiar with horror in general. I haven't seen Conjuring, but I know horror. I like horror a lot. It was a lot of what I've seen before. Nothing very special.
The thing is I don't think this movie was going to specific areas that they've gone before. Where they've gone before is yes, that jump scare, that heavy presence of something supernatural, right? This one was, I think, meant to be different. It was meant to be a little bit, maybe not the norm, right? They've been successful in what they've done. Now we're here to test some things out, right? We're here to explore, tweak the formula, and I think they did it well. I definitely thought there were some parts that put me back a little bit. When something pops out, right? Jump scare. But But I guess I could see where someone was coming from saying like, oh, it wasn't too scary. I mean, it wasn't too scary, but I've only seen one movie that actually got me scared.
Yeah.
So,
well, let me ask you this, Justin. You were talking about cliches. Do you think it's possible to make a horror movie anymore without doing cliche? Because
yes, I know it is. The prime example, the best example I could give that's the most recent, It Follows, that came out.
Okay.
It's pretty
a couple
old
of years
now.
ago, yeah.
It's
3
like
or 4 years ago.
15, no, older than that. It's like 2015, 2016. But I mean, originality through the roof. That creepy factor was really there. It was one of those movies that really chilled you to the bone. But back to what he was just saying about Conjuring, I'll give him this. I was expecting going into this movie with, jump scare after jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. They did not do that. They definitely did try to like switch things up and, give it a different vibe and different, try, like he said, rewrite the formula, come at it differently, switch up the angle. So I'll give him props for that because I was expecting, jump scare galore like everybody else does.
Because, sometimes I feel like people are a little too hard on horror movies because, like, I love action movies. I love comic book movies. But a lot of times you're going to see a lot of the same formulas, even the good ones, the bad ones. But people don't really care. They're like, hey, I'm being entertained. For me, like with horror, like I know those cliches are going to come up, the jump scare or, someone's about to get killed, but like I kind of let it go. I'm like, yeah, it's a horror movie. That's kind of what I'm expecting.
You know what I think it is? I think what plays a part anyways is in horror movies, what is lost in usually in your main characters is things like charisma, things like high moral codes and stuff like that. Like you'll see that in like action movies and especially superhero movies.
Yeah.
Right? People like The Rock or Chris Pratt, Robert Downey Jr., whatever, whoever you want to say, and they're high in charisma and morals, and they make funny jokes, whatever, blah blah blah. You don't really see that in horror because typically speaking, in a horror movie, the characters are just your everyday Joe Schmoes.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Yeah, if you have like a horror movie and The Rock shows up, you're like, all right, everything is gonna be cool because he's here.
Right. He's like being The Rock. It's gonna be off.
So, sort of on topic, we have Mad Zeppelin here is asking Ty, as someone who's dabbled in horror movie making, is there some kind of formula to these kinds of movies? So that's kind of like close to that what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think there is actually. So with, and that's another thing about why I wouldn't recommend seeing this movie without seeing the other ones, at least the other Conjuring films, because this movie is the third movie that we get Ed and Lorraine in, right?
Yeah.
They're not telling us, they're not showing us who they were 2 movies ago when we got introduced to them, right? They're showing us where they are now. They're down the line in their story arcs, right? So they're not going to waste time talking to you about their moral codes or who they are, what their backstories are, or anything like that, right? She just starts doing her thing. He just starts doing his thing, right?
Yeah.
So if you go into it not knowing what are their specialties, who is he, why does he do this, why does she do that? Well, you might find it kind of boring. Why is this woman channeling demons somehow? Like, no, they explained all that a long time ago. They don't need to do that again. Just like we don't need to reintroduce Iron Man every movie, right?
Yeah.
You go into it with a little bit less. You have no attachment to the main characters at this point, the third movie in. So you're not going to care. Ed, I always loved Ed, right? I don't know why. Maybe it is just Patrick Wilson that I like.
Patrick Wilson, yeah.
But his character in this, he's just like he's just the guy that's there who kind of knows what's going on. She's really the one who gets ahead of things, right? Mm-hmm. And their formula, them two right there, they're the formula. Their love for each other, their undying need to be together at all times, because together they're better. When they're separated, they're weaker. And we've seen that in other films where they separate them and they're weaker, right? That we see it in this one too. The bad person, the bad guy, the demon, targets them individually, but once they're together, they're stronger. And it's those aspects that you really don't typically see in horror movies anymore. because he's right. They don't explore the main characters. They're just some Joe Schmo that's walking down the road, and a demon jumps into jumps their bones.
Yeah.
Right.
These people, we know them. I've grown attached to them through a couple films, and you know what?
Mm-hmm.
During Quick Dip, I forgot how much I liked these movies. Actually, I remembered again tonight why I actually liked them.
How was the acting of the the new character? I think his name is Arne. I forgot how to pronounce it.
He was actually really good. Yeah,
he looks very familiar. I can't quite put my. I think he's the dude from Criminal Minds, is he not?
No, he does look like him,
right? But his acting was on point, and he was actually, out of everybody, like personality wise, he was by far the most likable. If again, like I was saying before, if anybody had any kind of charisma whatsoever, it was him. He was, if you ask me, he was the only one likable. I just want to get back to what Ty was just saying about Ed and Lorraine. I get it. I do. I get it. It's Iron Man's a great comparison. You're not going to go back and explain, but an explanation wouldn't make it better. Psychic abilities are always a cop out. If you ask me, it's boring. It's a cop out. It's easy. It's easy to get yourself out of a corner when you write yourself into one, or whatever the case may be. But I've never appreciated psychic powers, especially in that kind of setting.
Right. Let's use air quotations here, right? Mm. That's what she had, right? Right. So I mean, they didn't write that in. That's what she always.
And they developed that. Going back to what you said, Ty, they developed that in the first movie, because the first movie, kind of really establishes who they are. You see them working. I think they're like at a university and they're in a class and they're explaining things, and then they introduce, Ed's more of the, I guess you could say, the encyclopedia, right? Like he's like, oh, this is the such and such demon from the 3rd century that happened in Syria or something. And then she can see things, she can sense things, There's a great scene in the first movie where she's kind of walking through the house that's possessed, and she talks about, like, I saw some dark figure standing over here. So, like, in that sense, I think that's what Ty was saying, like, maybe they don't re-explain that in this movie because they're expecting that you've seen the first 2 Conjuring movies, and it's, where it's already established which person has which powers. It doesn't have any, supernatural abilities of any kind. He's just really smart guy, or he's religious. And then she's the sort of the one with abilities, for lack of a better word.
The two of you a question. Is it always her abilities? Are they always that, like, through the roof? Because they were pretty damn intense in this movie. Like, she was all powerful. She was like Gandalf.
They kind of, I would say that they actually dulled it this time.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I think they dulled it a little bit this time.
Wow.
There was a couple things that happened for the first time, but in the sense of, like, what we see of hers, I think they nulled it a little bit.
Wow.
And pumped the brakes on it a tad bit.
So I have a feeling I would enjoy the first 2 a lot more than this one. I don't know about the first 2. You guys can answer this. Did they slap the true story thing on that? Yeah. I think, so the difference being, because I'm pretty sure I did already know that, but I think the difference being is that, like, this is a legit court case on file. Like, it's well documented. It's a court case. It's well documented. And if, according to what they said in the movie, that was the first murder on record in that town. So it's a big deal, and it's probably heavily documented. So I think that's a big part of, like, why I was sucking my teeth the entire time, because none of what occurred in that movie would ever hold up in a courtroom, never mind in anywhere else, right? It would only hold up in a movie setting like that. To put true story on it is just, it was kind of disrespectful. Honestly.
I want to go see if, because they give him, they charge him with, they almost give this dude life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they try to give him the chair.
and this is already known, right? This is already a fact.
Yeah,
this is not
a fact,
a spoiler.
No.
He only ends up getting manslaughter.
Yeah.
He still gets convicted at the end of the story, but he doesn't get the death penalty. So I would be, and they never really get into it in the film. I agree. I think a little bit more of the court scenes would have been cool to dive into it.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. as much as I thought they were going to. However, you know what? You take it and you leave it. And I want to know if that's actually the reason that they dropped it from first degree murder to manslaughter.
Yeah, maybe it did have the judge or someone, you know, took it into consideration that
reason.
I want to know. I want to see if the jury actually believed.
Right. That's what I was.
They didn't explain that.
Right. They did. They never did. And that's what I was talking about when I said I would love to read that.
Yeah. I would like to. I would like to know a little bit more. And he's still alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you know what's spooky about this? Because whether it was demonic possession or just mental illness, it's still like a scary story, or at least the actual story, you know.
Yeah.
And there's like a level of creep factor, I think, you know, whether it was in his head, because, you know, you take like the first two Conjuring movies, they don't necessarily deal with murder. Like, you know, yes, the people are under attack, but, you know, you're kind of drawing in the real world and like this sort of like supernatural world and seeing how that kind of meshes together. But even if there is no supernatural aspect, whether it's mental illness or maybe this guy's just a psycho, it's still a kind of a scary story, you know, the movie aside.
So are they always in New England?
No, but they do come into Massachusetts, which we've actually both been in the town that they travel to, which is a highly recognized town that some weird stuff happens.
Yeah, because it's one of those. The Historical Society is very heavily present in all of New England,
and it's right next to.
Yeah,
you know so they
I
go
think
to
there's one in there, right?
They go to
Danvers.
They go to Danvers, Massachusetts, and they go to where the asylum. They don't go in the asylum, but they're in a place that's next to it.
Yes.
And they show it as their, and that's right where. That's right next to where.
That's where Drip lives.
Yeah. But that's right next to where we've both been. Where we kind of met.
It's a familiar location that we're aware of, and like I was saying, the Historical Society is very present in all of New England. So also when you're in too, actually in Philly. So nothing gets torn down around here. I mean, you buy a house and you want to make renovations, you have to like fill out paperwork and talk to people. It's crazy.
Permission.
Denver's is by far very high on that list. A lot of Danvers is very
because those New England towns are like older than the country by like 150 years. Some of those towns were made, you know, like in the 1600s, the late 1500s. It's kind of crazy when you think about it. So there's always like the New England area, whether it's Stephen King, just the idea that these are older places, you know, they're like 500-600.
When they say it, they go, "Oh, in Danvers," and I was like, "No way!" I was like, "It's not going to be Danvers, Mass."
Right.
Next thing you know, the title tag came up, Danvers, Mass.
I said it out loud. I said, "Hey!" I think I know that place.
Let me ask you this: you guys saw Next Plus, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so compare watching a horror movie, which really depends on sound. I mean, all movies do. But, you know, especially we talk about the Dolby Atmos in our previous videos and, you know, the visuals. How is watching a horror movie in like a regular theater, standard theater, versus watching it, you know, in X Plus when you have all those speakers, you have, you know, that kind of immersion into it?
Well, one thing that really stood out for me, honestly, in this time around, I wouldn't say standard theater and X Plus made all that much of a difference. But what I will say is just the theater in general. Showcase did a great job of separating me from the outside world. Again, we caught a noon showing for a horror movie, right? And I was kind of worried about that. I was like, oh, that's gonna negatively affect, you know, this movie enjoyment. But no, once the film started, they closed the doors and they did a good job setting the atmosphere for a horror movie, you know.
I found that watching a horror movie in an empty theater, which I've done because when I was a kid, I'd have like these random days off. It's scary, or at least to me. I don't know about you guys, but if there's people in there, I feel a little bit more okay. I'm not alone. But if I'm like by myself and it's a dark theater and it's loud,
we sat separately, like in different areas,
right?
And I was actually alone in the front, like alone. And and I kept like I had to kept looking behind me just in case, because I didn't want anyone's hand to like touch me or anything.
I had some teenagers in front of me, so that
they kept talking too. And,
that ruined it. But I wasn't even mad because I was not enjoying this movie at all. So I wasn't angry. I
have a joke that he doesn't enjoy anything. I'm pretty sure.
I think of all the movies we've seen, I don't think Justice League enjoyed any of them.
No, that is not true.
I'm sorry, he's 1 for 4. Sorry, Con you kind of liked.
I loved that movie.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
You
That's
didn't
just
like,
unfortunate.
you didn't like Wonder Woman. You didn't like Mortal Kombat.
You didn't like that.
I'm just saying, but I've liked
either.
3 out of the 4, whereas you've liked 1 out of the 4.
I know that's a series of unfortunate events.
Hopefully
it flips around.
Well, a lot of movies coming out this summer. Maybe Justice will like one of them.
Yeah, I mean, we got Fast and Furious coming up. We have Hitman's Bodyguard.
That I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to cover that one here.
But we'll still be able to
see it and talk about it, because that's a movie I'm very much interested in.
Yeah.
But this movie overall, I saw that it was trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
This movie, regardless of what your outcome is, regardless of what you come out of the theater thinking, don't go on anyone else's word.
Yeah.
Go see it yourself.
Of course, that's the case for anything.
Go make your own judgment call. I promise, a night out to the movie theater is never a bad thing.
That's right.
It is never going to be a bad decision.
Put it this way. I paid money to go see Suicide Squad, but I still had fun tonight. Not because of the movie.
Not because of the movie. Listen, we're going to get into some spoilers. So we're going to transition, but real quick, Ty, why don't you explain to everyone watching, how Super Chat works in our new tier system, and then we'll get right into spoilers. All right, cool. Awesome.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, we have Super Chats now. So basically what that is, it's a way to support the channel when when maybe you don't want to become a member right away, you don't want to have that monthly commitment, or you want to get your comment featured because you have something that is literally burning your bum.
That you need me to
hear. Yeah, you need us to see it. Then send a Super Chat. It can be anywhere from, I think it's 99 cents to $100.
Yeah.
Anywhere between that, you can send a Super Chat, and we'll pull it right up on screen, and we'll have a little discussion about what you say every single time, no matter how many times you do it. We'll do that for you because you're paying the money. It's a way to support the show.
Right.
It all goes back into the Pop Culture Corner. And it keeps our drug habits going. And,
I got a real problem with Cialis. It's not a joke.
Yeah, it keeps our production value up. It keeps the show moving forward, and it's a way to give back to the community.
That's right.
Because
our community.
Yeah, and when we do things, we have a breast cancer month coming up soon, and when we do that, I'll take all the Super Chats that we raise throughout the month, doing interviews and bringing guests in. I'll take all the Super Chats and I'll donate them to Breast Cancer Foundation. So it's things like that we're going to be able to do. We're also going to be able to give away gifts and do raffles and stuff with all the money that we earn now through this platform.
Right, and that's where memberships come in.
Yeah.
Nice little transition.
And that's why we have our basic tier, the Drip, because she's basic. $2.99,
baby.
$2.99.
I'm balling on a budget.
Yep. And then right there, right above it, the most popular is the Jack Attack at $4.99. Right above that is the TY, the gorgeous, the special, the intimate,
the overpriced, the bougie, the not worth it.
But we have those 3. You can pick from them. Each tier you choose up, you get the one below, and then plus some more stuff. So hit the join button below this video, and you can watch a trailer explaining it in more detail. With that being said, though, I think Austin's here for some spoilers.
Austin, you here?
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
Hey, Poppy.
What's up,
man? Did you like the movie?
I did, actually. I really liked the movie. I actually went to, I took my grandma is also a fan of these, so I went with her, took her to see it. And we both really, really liked it, actually.
Your grandma to see it?
Hey man, grandmas can like horror movies too, okay? So yeah, we both really enjoyed it. I thought it was
elderly Spanish woman.
Hey man, we saw Curse of La Llorona, we saw it all. We've been watching these but yeah, we really enjoyed it. We thought it was really good. It was really well done.
So walk us through it. Explain to us what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it.
So I think, interestingly enough, right, is I think the hardest part for me is like the liberties that they took. So I did a lot of research on the real true life story before. You guys were actually asking about the court case and all that stuff, right? So that end part was all very fictionalized. In real life, the jury never heard the possession argument. The judge didn't allow it. He threw it out. Yeah, they threw it out. They did not allow the possession argument. I know, obviously, it was added in there for the dramatic effect, right? But overall, I thought it was really, really entertaining. I don't know about you guys, but these type of supernatural movies, they don't really scare me. So I wasn't necessarily scared. It was more thrilling, if anything, for me. But I think, if anything, the parts that I didn't like were, I think, like you guys said, I would have wished that they would have gone more into the actual courtroom aspect of it. Obviously, right. it kind of messes, right, with the story that the jury never heard it, and that the case was like it kind of would make for a bland ending if they just kind of.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of even including the court aspect of the movie.
They never. No. They never lied to us at all. They never exaggerated at all. They literally just didn't say that anything.
They didn't say.
Right. It's just, to me, it's like, why even mention it was a court case? Because it wasn't. If the judge, never even saw a trial, so that means
because they wanted to push home the based on a true story.
Right.
They wanted. Oh, look, it's an actual case. Here you go.
Right. Even though it never happened.
Right. So that's why they did that. But and then again, yeah. So they never tell us specifically that, hey, the jury. That's why I said what I said at the beginning is I want to know if that's why the jury dropped the charges so low after starting with first-degree manslaughter. They dropped it down to first-degree murder. Yeah. They dropped it down to manslaughter. I wonder why they did that.
In real life, they changed it to self-defense, from demonic possession to self-defense. So that's how he got the lower sentence.
I see.
So that was the reason.
Right. Yeah. Demonic possession. You're like, no, buddy. Let's go with self-defense.
Yeah. Right. Ed goes. Oh, I'll take you to see Annabelle, and she goes. And she sees that Raggedy Ann doll, and she's like, "Yeah, we're not using this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you brought that up, right? Because I was kind of disappointed with that, because I thought we were gonna get a scene of the lawyer going through some stuff.
She just showed up at the court like,
and she's
that scene immediately after, she's looking at the desk like traumatized. I was like, oh, she went through something.
It's another thing that kind of Ty mentioned, and I do agree with him that I think you need to see the other two movies, because look, if you know the Conjuring universe, you know Annabelle is scary as all hell. You know, like, you don't really need to see a scene between you. There's 2 or 3 movies about Annabelle. You know,
it was more the lawyer.
Right. But I kind of understand why they did it too. It also, had that little moment of humor, added humor too.
So what did you give it? What do you give it for a score out of 10?
I would probably say I really like, it's no like great thing, but I'd probably say like 6.8. Wow. 6.8, which is really good for me.
Wow, you guys are so generous. I give it a 2. I do around bad movie. There was nothing good about this movie whatsoever at all. I didn't like any of it. I don't like the characters. I don't like the overall concept. The whole. First of all, I know this. I won't even get into it because it's this whole long conversation. But the whole witchcraft and Satanism and all this blah 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 blah. That was terrible. The end conflict was boring. The only cool thing I saw is the morgue scene. That morgue scene where we got a special guest appearance from Dwayne The Rock Johnson's Maui. That was pretty cool.
Gosh.
But other than that, that movie was I didn't have any kind of fun whatsoever, like at all.
You didn't even have fun at Showcase Cinemas Deluxe?
That's okay. I'm lying. I had fun at Showcase Cinemas Deluxe.
Wonderful.
Be Showcase safe.
I forgot we were here. Cash on the film.
What?
That's what we do.
I feel like you saw like a whole different movie
in theaters because it's not worth it.
No, go to the theaters and see it. But go to the theaters, but see something else, preferably.
Oh. I feel like we saw a whole different movie, man. Because like, I get what you're saying. I think you're mainly hating on like the spiritual aspect of it. I think that's what your main problem with it is. Because you look at all these other horror movies and stuff. Those are even more fantasy, you know.
Right.
I have a question. Did you what are horror movies that you do like?
I just had the same conversation with that.
It Follows and what else?
Yeah, that would be the prime example I would give you for a good horror movie. That movie's
like
great.
That's it?
Excellent. No. I'm also a big fan of I like slashers in general. I have a bias for slashers, but the originals are great. Friday the 13th original was great. The remake was really good. A Nightmare on Elm Street, those originals.
Okay, well, you talk about. I mean, those are even more. I would say more of a fantasy than this.
No. But fantasy isn't the problem, Austin. The fantasy is not the problem. I have the problem with fantasy. The movie's just bad. That's all.
All right, moving on. So I give it
horror.
I give it a 7.1 for fun. I had a great time watching it, but I also had fun watching Mortal Kombat because I do not get my expectations too high for movies like this, and they're just fun to see in theaters. And I had a great time. It was super. The cinematography this one specifically was good.
Nice.
Some of the other ones, I had some trouble with following certain scenes, but this one they really they took that element of it and they really honed in on it. Where I thought they used a couple of really great shots. Specifically, there's a shot where the demon is looking out at Arnie. Yeah. We are the demon, and we're looking out the window at him. Right. And I liked how they set that one up because that one really freaked me out a little bit. I really liked the waterbed scene. That was dope.
I love that opening sequence.
Waterbeds anymore, actually, because demons would get you through them. Actually, right. That's why they don't exist anymore. Freddy always came through them.
Through the waterbed, yeah.
Came through them. We just can't have waterbeds anymore. They're not good for your health. Overall, I really did enjoy what the movie delivered on because it didn't promise you much. It just promised you a good day to the theater, and that's what it delivered on. So I'm very happy.
I agree. I actually really love the opening sequence as well. I thought that was really well done. How that kid kind of contorted into that. I've never seen a horror contortion scene like that. I thought that was pretty. That was pretty well done. The way that he literally does some more than Cirque du Soleil stuff. Puts his head through his legs.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's something I forgot to mention. And that was the first 10 minutes of the movie. So that all that happens, right? It's this whole big thing. Mom, dad, and sister, and brother-in-law, whatever you want to call Arnie, all witness an 8-year-old boy tear the house down, contort into what's essentially a pretzel. I mean, he was like an action figure at that point. It was crazy. But then after everything's said and done, they get rid of the demon the next day. Everybody's just cool. They're just kind of chilling. That nobody cares. Nope. Nobody remembers. Nobody cares. It doesn't bother them. That's traumatizing events. That would break them.
I just feel like they didn't really show that though. They shifted to the Warren side because Ed had a heart attack.
Yeah, the next scene that we see of them is a flashback of them moving into the house, and then when we get back to that,
no. I'm talking. No.
The next time we get to the family, the little kid. Eventually we get to the part where now he goes and sees Arnie in jail and he's like, Dude,
No. I'm talking that first scene where she comes in the room, she wakes up Arnie, and that's the first time that Arnie's like, he's struggling to sleep, he can't sleep at night, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, hey, right around the time the murder happened, right before that, when we get introduced to homeboy that got stabbed. That part. That's like immediately after.
Yeah, so you just said he was having trouble.
Yeah, because he's possessed.
Yeah, I think you just said he didn't have trouble. Or he just acted
Yeah, it's not like everything was normal, yeah.
What I said.
You said that after he got possessed.
No, I said
everyone
after they
watched. Chill.
I said after they just watched an 8-year-old boy contort like an action figure and be possessed by a demon and tear the house apart because he's possessed by a demon. Nobody cares. Nobody remembers it. Everything's sunshine and smiles, and it just seems like I like it. This isn't like a legit criticism. I was just.
That no one was happy after. No one was like, well, I'm super happy that this happened. It was that, I'm super glad that the demon's gone. Let's try to get back to normal life.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing, right? That was and that was part of the narrative, right? Is that the family thinks the demon's gone. Even Lorraine, to a certain point, thinks the demon's. She even tells Ed, it's gone, it's okay. And so. I wouldn't say it's all happy-go-lucky because he does wake up and you kind of see it, even right after, right? You see demon enter in his eyes. So the audience knows there's something up with this kid, You have the events like what he's doing with the chainsaw and the tree and all that.
Maybe it was exaggerated. Like, we have to make them seem a little bit happier than they normally may be. Just so when they get the news, like, oh, bro, Arnie's got the demon now, it's that much more tragic or like heart-wrenching for the family because no, not out of the woods yet. So maybe they did act a little bit too happy as opposed to just seeing a pretzel boy, 8-year-old pretzel. But what I didn't like about that was that in Supernatural, if that kid did that, his spine would have been broken. He would have never walked again after that. So Supernatural does, I think, a little bit better of a job of like the repercussions of a demon possession, right? So if a demon possesses you and breaks your spine like that, when you're not possessed anymore, you're broken, right? He literally just broke your spine and twisted it into ways it should not be shaped. So after you're gonna deal with the consequences.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna and that kid probably would have been in a wheelchair or dead. Even though they got out.
Interestingly enough, there are like when I was reading, I personally, the movie does say it's based off a true story, and it's pretty accurate to that because it's going off of the true story of Ed and Lorraine Warren and the family and the accounts of the family, which, as Justice said, is pretty well documented. So that whole opening scene where he tells the kid, the demon, to take me instead, all of that. The Warrens, all that claim actually really did happen. The only thing is, I guess instead of Pretzel Boy, he more levitated than turned into Pretzel Boy. So in real life, I guess it would have made sense that he's not in a wheelchair. But I understand what you're saying. Yeah, for that scene, might have been a little too much to go to Pretzel Boy.
Supernatural, I just think it does a better job of what happens to you after. Like you're not just fine after you get possessed. Because the demon will do things that, based on the lore, like the demon will do things to its body, like its host, that aren't of human capability.
Natural,
So no matter what, if a demon is exorcised out of you, you are not going to be the same person afterwards. So I think, Supernatural does a better job of that aspect. Maybe they could have had the kid be a little bit more depressed instead of like
well, you barely see the kid after the fact.
And that's an interesting too. You never really follow up with him on that.
You only see him for the flashback, and then you see him in the court scene. I mean, in the jail. The cell. That was good. That was actually good.
When he delivers that speech of like being cold and not alone.
Good's a bit of an exaggeration, but it was.
Imagine being in jail. Dealing with that?
I'm doing it, and they had him in solitary and some more. That was awful.
You're already in jail.
You're on.
I thought I thought that scene where the priest comes in, what was his name? Priest Newman, something like that, Randy Newman. He came in, he was like, "Oh, everybody has the right to defend themselves," and give him some holy water. I thought that he was, because immediately before that, they were talking about how it's, a murder, and then a suicide, and then there was a third thing, I think. I forget what the third one was.
Man of God.
No. That was
Those were the three.
A child, a lover, and a man of God. But then there was a murder, a suicide, and then a third one. I can't remember what it was. But they were talking about how it's the next step is suicide, and that's what they wanted. What's his face to do? Arnie. And
Arnie.
The priest comes in. He hands him the holy water. I thought he was gonna give him like a shank or something, so he could
kill himself.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God, the priest
the
got it
suffering.
too. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, I thought that too. I didn't think it was going to be holy water.
Right.
But then it was holy water, but it was still made of glass. So
See, like in this world that they built, it's like it seems like very clear how to deal with these problems. Things like holy water, like they always put this light on it, and it's not just the Conjuring that does this. It's every movie that has like possessions and demons in it and stuff. They put such a heavy emphasis on Christianity. Like, that's the answer. You get yourself a rosary, some holy water, go to church, you read from the Bible, you'll be cool, you know?
Well, as far as we know, historically, that's the only thing that works.
Right. So
that's why.
Well, I know that's a complaint. I'm just saying, like, that that's what I'd be doing. I'd be posted up at the church. I'd break in if I have to. I cover myself in rosaries. I got a tattoo of a cross on my chest. Bathe in holy water. I'm doing whatever I have to do to get away from that thing.
Yeah. And the demon. Does any other religion have demons, or is it just?
No, I mean, there's you gotta understand, it's not right. Christianity is the one that refers to them as demons, I guess. I mean, there's like the underworld and other things. I wouldn't know, but I wouldn't know what they're referred to as. But I know other religions believe in like angelic forces, demonic forces, those types of things, right?
Right. They have, every religion, to my understanding as well, has something of the sort. But like Austin just said, it's not referred to as like a demon or
necessarily.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just seems, Christianity is definitely the one that they always stick with. I would like to see one that's not like that. They're faced with a possession, but it turns out that works.
Right. Well,
and they got to go figure out what really stops
right.
it.
And that's what I was talking about on Quick Tip with the nun. It's like if the nun was able to be possessed, that means Christianity has nothing to do with this. How do we solve this problem? What do we do next? But then, Jack had explained, oh no, she's not actually a nun.
We see the picture of her in Ed's trophy case thing, his trophy room, I suppose you call it, just like the other priests. By the way, I wonder what they did with that other priest's room, because there was a lot of stuff in there. There was a lot of Easter eggs in there for other stories. I'm gonna have to freeze frame it, either when the scene comes out online. But if you look, I was trying to look around as much as I could, but there's possible clues to other stuff. Maybe we'll see in the future.
Other spin-offs, yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to get a good look, but I didn't really get, because the camera moved really fast into the room. So yeah. And when it did focus, it was on them too, like at a table like this, not looking at artifacts.
For Ty, I have a question, because we've seen the other two movies. This was a different director. This wasn't James Wan. What did you think of the direction of this?
I liked it. I did. Again, I had fun. I do think that there definitely could have been some work done. With certain things, especially when it came down to the villain, the witch.
I thought she the occultist and all that. Yeah.
When we didn't know who she was a lot scarier. Once we met her, then I was like, And typically, witches don't run alone. Typically.
Yeah, they have a
just don't run in a pack, right? They're witches,
coven or whatever. Coven.
a coven is way more dangerous than a solo witch. And, I wish that she maybe we got a hint. I wish that they hinted at it at the end, maybe with a post-credit scene, that maybe it's not over yet, right?
Yeah.
Like, even if it's not based on a true story anymore, and we're just taking it and run with it. Like, there was she's answering to someone, right? And fine, I'll do it myself, kind of deal. I wouldn't have minded something like that, because covens, dude, witches are scary AF. Especially in shows like Supernatural, you never want to see a witch, because typically if you see a witch, you're dealing with a whole coven, and that's the scariest part. Is you have multiple.
Is that where that witches running packs thing came from? Supernatural.
The lore in general. Coven, a witch's coven. Like, it typically will take more than one witch to complete a ritual. So,
I see what you mean.
Yeah. So usually it'll take multiple witches and the power of the coven to complete a really big spell or ritual.
Yeah, right. Trying to take over the whole town or something.
Yeah. So I guess I'm like.
Well, was she a witch?
Yeah,
or
she was
just like
yes. No, she was a witch.
Because I got the impression she was just like I came out of it thinking after the end. I came out of it thinking, oh, okay, she some way somehow made a deal with the devil, but managed to wiggle her way out of it if she managed to get a soul to replace it, or three rather. Because
that's the deal. She's trying to get this. She's trying to get the soul. And obviously she can't. So
she has to give hers.
But
I never got the vibe she was a witch.
Yeah, witches always. The devil and witches go simultaneously together. They practice the dark arts, and he's, they pray to him, basically, right? He's their god. He's their man in the chair, right? So I guess here's the ultimate question, right? For the end of the day question. What do you guys think Arnie was possessed?
In actuality, no.
In actuality,
no.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
I haven't read it, but I
don't know, man.
Very doubtful.
UFOs are flying in the sky. I don't know.
I like that, yeah.
But I just to guess again. I haven't read it, and our knowledge is about the same, so I'm on the same boat. I don't know, but if I had to just give an educated guess, I'd say no. I think he's just trying to. I think it's the perfect way to try to get out of something, because you can't disprove it. You don't have to prove your innocence. They have to prove your guilt. And you can't disprove I was possessed. So checkmate, I win. You know what I mean?
I think that's a great point, what Ty said, right? In a world where we're living, where, the government says flying saucers exist and, all this stuff. Anything's possible at this point, I kind of feel like.
Well, UFOs are a lot more in the realm of reality than demonic possession. Yes, absolutely. You think life on another planet is not you think demonic
more
possession
tangible than
than life on another planet?
That's for another day, at another time, on another conversation.
That's got to be a joke.
If you showed someone, ready? So if you showed someone who lived in like the Salem witch trials, math, they thought that was witchcraft.
They'd be burned,
right?
Yeah. Well, if it was a lady, she'd be
burned. Yeah, exactly. If you show us UFOs, right? It's a weird comparison to make, but like if you show a caveman a cell phone, he's gonna think that we're like magical.
Yeah.
So I guess to refer to Thor, the line between science and magic is one and the same,
right?
In a sense.
Right.
So,
right.
I don't know.
I don't either. I would say though aliens are much more tangible than demons.
Yeah, but maybe we don't know. Like I don't necessarily believe in the way that the Christianity or the religion sees it, but maybe we're just not seeing the whole picture, or we can't perceive it.
Right, maybe.
Right?
Absolutely.
So
maybe. I mean, if they're right, we're talking a whole nother plane of existence. So you're right. We wouldn't even be able to fathom such a thing.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be able to wrap the way we are now, anyways.
Yeah, so I guess never say never.
To quote Beebs to wrap it up.
Yeah. But Austin, why don't you take us out, man?
All righty. Well, yeah, guys, thanks for joining us today. Again, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We love you all. We do it for you. We do it for the culture.
Hey, I was gonna be mad at you if you missed the slogan.